if my thoughts have derailed me and I have needed to shift feeling state pretty quickly because there's been a buildup of something that's intolerable in my system. That, by the way, is a sign that if your state of being is being negatively affected in that way to where it feels intolerable, that you have something to release. Because peace, truth, and love do not dictate those feeling states. That is an intrusion of something else, okay? Welcome back to the Maybe Mindful podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Mae, and it's been a shit show of a week, and I'm so happy to just be sharing my epiphanies, my re-realizations, and awarenesses with you, and I hope it's helpful. So, I just want to announce real quick before we get started that I am about to drop and announce a free master class in the seat of your power. This is really going to be tapping more deeply into the how of what we're going to talk about today. So I hope to see you there. If you come on this class, you're going to get exclusive access to my next upcoming self-hypnosis training that I'm doing at an amazing deal and price. So please come on that so you don't miss that opportunity. So first of all, I want to talk about the most incredible gift and tool, an asset that we have as humans, okay? And this is something that is just overlooked and glossed over and taken for granted since we've had it for as long as we can remember. So we have these really incredible gifts of imagination. Children are so tapped into it. They live in it, they love in it, they play in it. They get to experience life really beautifully, even when life is hard for them. It is our attention, and we have the ability to make choices and choose what we pay attention to, where we direct our focus. And this is the most powerful tool that we are given and blessed with as co-creator. And we have this incredible inheritance and incredible opportunity available to us of a new reality, of a new perception at any given time. And we're living in a time where multiple realities can exist. This is apparent, right? You can have two different people on opposing sides, opposing parties, political parties, whatever, and they're experiencing life and viewing it through two totally different lenses. And this comes down to perception and attention and focus. So you have probably heard wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. And this is true. And all you have to do is think about, what have I given my attention to? What have I poured my energy into? Therefore, what have you grown? So whatever you're paying attention to, you're essentially watering the plant of. And so you're feeding the mouth of either something that you want to build or something that you don't want to build. And it's easy to get caught up and distracted and pay attention to the thing that feels disturbing, to the thing that feels worrisome. And we can become addicted to worry. But the thing about worry is that it doesn't achieve or accomplish anything positive. It definitely achieves things. It achieves more worry. It achieves more tension. It achieves blocking of possibility. It contributes to like a crisis mentality, but it doesn't achieve anything good. So behind worry, there is this belief and idea usually that we have control, but you're no more controlling something by tripping out on it than you are ignoring it, to be perfectly honest. And there's an antidote to worry, and that is to trust. Just like there is an antidote to anxiety, to fear, and that is also to trust and to love, actually. And when we tap into these higher states and we access a place of surrender and receptivity to possibility, then we enter into a new dimension, essentially. We step into a new energy field. We get in a new current, one that can take us upstream versus down and like over the waterfall and into the rocks below. And this is an option that we all have at any time. And sometimes the more caught up in a problem we are, the harder it can feel to detach. The more fearful we are about the outcome of something, the harder it can feel to detach. But again, notice where the fear and where the worry is taking you. Is it solving the problem? Has it ever effectively solved a problem? So overthinking something doesn't give you the answer or provide clarity. It usually takes you into a maze spiral. And there's no room for intuition in that maze spiral, because you need to be in the open field for intuition to land. And that is an open state. That's an open mind, and that's an open heart. But worry actually causes you to control, restrict, and lock down. And that's the opposite of open. That is contraction. So whatever you're giving your attention to, whatever you're paying attention to, you're literally stepping into and living in the energy of it. You're entering into a relationship and into a conversation with the energy of whatever that is. You're cultivating and building the energy of whatever you're continuing to pay attention to, good or bad. Like, this could be great. This could be the greatest thing ever. This could skyrocket you to success and opportunity, or this could plummet you into despair. So you're not just pouring your attention and energy outwards. You're actually entering into a relationship with it, a conversation with it. And then what happens is then you enter a dialogue, right? And that starts to shift and alter feeling state based on your thoughts that you're having. It triggers emotions, which then trigger feelings. And that triggers, based on the meanings that we're assigning everything, more thoughts. And we can really get a whole story rolling with this. But this is a part that I want to underline, and this is where we can start to bring choice back to the table here, because our thoughts don't automatically have authority over our feeling state. They only gain that authority through sustained attention, and we're wired to continue to pay attention to them, partially because of these old emotional imprints, which we can resolve subconsciously. But what we stay focused on, we're essentially giving permission to shape how we feel in our body. For example, people who are doing the courageous work of facing their trauma and doing trauma work, if you don't have somebody skilled in guiding you through this, who can hopefully help you access subconscious imprints, beliefs, memories, and do the reinforming work on a deeper level, there is this danger, and I see this a lot in people that are in therapy long term, that you can become really immersed and just stuck and just live forever in the energy of the wound. You descend into the wound, but then you forget the part that you're supposed to transmute it and then ascend out of it. So with your attention output, if it's toxic, if it's draining, it's going to be an expense. It's going to cost you. It's going to drain your energy, literally. Versus if it's going to energize you, if it's moving into something positive, it's going to build energy, and it's going to create these positive chemicals in your body that are going to motivate you, that are going to help you feel good and happy about yourself, and are going to increase motivation, self-esteem. But if it's not doing that and it's causing deflation, well, that's worth checking your perception. And it's possible to shift perception always. That's something that we have power over. It's something that we need to surrender in. But that surrender is what opens that door and makes a new perspective possible. And I see people heal this stuff all the time. They shift perception and they literally step from one path onto another path, and they have a completely different trajectory, and life can dramatically change. And so because we're human and we're susceptible to all these different things and fields and energies and dimensions, there's a pretty incredible and apparent overlap with our mind, with our brain, with our soul, with our body. And there's different energies, different dimensions, and different entities at work. If you really want to take a deeper dive spiritually into it, then there's stuff to navigate. We do need a high level of discernment in this. We do need to pause and not just operate automatically or compulsively. And I'll offer that a tool that has been extremely helpful for me if my thoughts have derailed me and I have needed to shift feeling state pretty quickly because there's been a buildup of something that's intolerable in my system. That, by the way, is a sign that if your state of being is being negatively affected in that way to where it feels intolerable, that you have something to release, because peace, truth, and love do not dictate those feeling states. That is an intrusion of something else, okay? And this is more than just being derailed by your own thoughts. Yes, we can be deceived by information. We can be deceived by our own thoughts and meanings we're attaching and assigning things. But there's also a spiritual aspect to this, which is the spiritual warfare piece that is part of the human experience. So if you choose to acknowledge that, then you'll acknowledge that we are souls having a human experience for this short duration of time on this planet. And we are prey and subject to deception and manipulation through lower thought forms, through lower energies and forces, through the spiritual dimension and realms. And what's interesting is these energies and spirits can only access us through permission, through our minds, through our thoughts. And so from a spiritual perspective, this is where we can also really step back into authority in knowing that we have the ability and we have the right to safeguard our thoughts. And there's a variety of ways that we can do that. And so very simply, I can simply acknowledge that just because I'm thinking it doesn't mean it's real and doesn't mean it's true, despite how real it feels, despite how true I believe it is, which is usually due to the amount of attention that we have given it that has reinforced and built and generated more energy around this idea, thought, or story. So simply by this acknowledgement, I am disengaging, I'm stepping back, and I'm becoming open and receptive to new information when I have an open mind in this way. So this last weekend, I was at the Grammys with my husband, and that was celebratory and fun and intense and like overwhelming and interesting and all the things. But there's a lot of information, a lot of input, right? And then you throw on media coverage and information and social media coverage and everybody's individual coverage and opinion of this really dark content that's coming forward and information around the Epstein files. And this should be disturbing. This should be disturbing. It should be dysregulating to the system because it's not supposed to be acceptable. Sort of like how when people witnessed without consent Charlie Kirk's assassination, they felt traumatized. They had a dissociative response, or some people had a really weird response where they reveled and they celebrated. And to be disturbed or to feel cut off and to not want to feel something disturbing is a protective mechanism. And that's totally natural and very human. But to understand that we have the ability to monitor and limit consumption of this input, and that there is a requirement and a need to do something counter to that for our mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health, and to be able to meet ourselves to the degree that we're needing that. So for me personally, I don't normally consume a lot of this type of input in the news, in the media. I don't doom scroll. It's just not a pattern or a habit that I'm in anymore, because I understand that it puts me into this crisis mentality and distorted perception. And that's not what I choose to focus my attention on anymore. So with this, because of the disturbing nature of some of this stuff, the little bit of imagery that I saw, the descriptions of what I saw, and then a couple of friends also sharing with me because they're extremely tapped into media sources and alternative media sources, it had been playing in my subconscious one night, and I woke up the next morning and it was on my mind first thing, and that told me that it was really needing to be processed. And in order to process that, I can't keep consuming more of it. I have to self-care and shift my attention back to light, back to truth, back to joy. And a lot of times, interestingly, people feel, and I've heard this before, where they think that they don't have the right to joy and to happiness and to freedom when other people are in grief and other people are suffering or in crisis. And it's actually really truly the opposite. Like, if that's happening, have gratitude and thank God that you're not in crisis, and then cultivate that for yourself, intensify that for yourself so that you can be that for others. And this might sound totally and completely cliche, but we actually all are connected and all are one. So that which we cultivate in ourselves is what we're pouring back into the collective, and it's affecting people to a degree and on a level that we don't understand. And who we're being in the world is how we are serving. So this, when you look at it in that light, it's like, it's never going to be perfectly even. Like, there's going to be people sometimes that you're going to need to draw from their fullness and their well and their lantern to guide the way, to borrow their hope, to borrow their faith. And likewise, if you can be that for somebody and give back, then that's our responsibility to humanity, to be perfectly honest, as far as I'm concerned, and to ourselves, because this is how we cultivate a sense of truth and joy. And this is a way that we can contribute to humanity in a really positive way. But, we do first have to safeguard our own vessels, simplify, empty. And this is why I want to teach this 7th path self-hypnosis and why I'm about to launch this, because it's an incredible way to systematically empty the cup of negativity so that we can be open and receptive again to inspiration, to intuition, to clarity, to clearing, and to restoring us back into our right minds, into alignment, harmony, to peace, and to potential, like to maximize potential. So, having said that, keep your ears out. I'm going to send an email out to those who follow me. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. You'll get either a free Hypnosis Demystified video, hypnosis meditation download, God-aligned affirmations. You can have one of them. You can have all of them if you want. It's all linked in my bio on Instagram, or feel free to reach out to me and I'll get them all to you. Lots of love. Thank you for being here with me, with you on the path. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in to the May Be Mindful podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us grow and improve. For more information, resources, and exclusive content, visit our website at maybemindful.com, or go ahead and follow us over on Instagram at maybemindful. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please give me a follow, screenshot the episode, and go ahead and tag me until next week when I bring you another thought-provoking and inspiring topic. Until then,